Hey there, Algebra 1Bs, and welcome to our third topic within keystones. Yesterday we looked at polynomials. Today it's kind of a mix-up amongst graphing, writing equations of lines, and absolute value. So things you might have forgotten. First off, standard form. If you happen to know the equation of a line in standard form, that's awesome. It'll always be given to you. It is ax plus by equals c. The key things for this here. Okay, a must be positive, and it can't be a fraction. Okay, and that's really about it. And also notice that x and y are on the same side. Okay, so simply put here, one thing you can do to get rid of the fraction right away, so we don't want any fractions in here. One thing you can do, however, is knock it out right away. And by doing that, it'll help you. So we see a denominator of 3. And what we can do is just multiply everything, kind of scale everything by that denominator of 3. So I'm going to multiply everything by 3. So we have 3y equals, if you do negative 1/3 times 3, you're really just left with negative 1x and then plus 27. So the fractions are gone. Your next step then is to move the x to the other side. Well, if it's negative over here, I'm going to add 1x to the left to make the nice balance. So we have 1x plus 3y equals 27. Okay? X, Y on the same side, C left over, no fractions, no negatives. Okay, now these problems here, I highly recommend you just use a calculator. The tough thing is depending on the domain and the range. Okay, so basically you just make sure you can go to your calculator and just go to y equals. Okay, and you will type in negative 2 to the x power. Okay. Also, if you do a second and you do graph or see the table, that gives you all the values to just fill in. So if you navigate your table, you have 2 and it's going to negative 4. You have 1 and it's going to negative 2. 0 is going to negative 1. Positive 1 is going to negative 1/2 or 0.5. And then negative 0.25. Okay, if you're not sure how to find this, make sure you ask a classmate or ask me. Okay, so just ask. Then plotting the points, negative 2, negative 1/4 about. So negative 2 down a little bit, okay? Well, they won't ask for perfection, perhaps, but you should get a general idea as to what is going on with the graph over 1 to 2 and 2 to 4. You have a nice little line there. I know I missed the dot, sorry. Okay, now the last thing is talking about the domain, which I'm going to highlight in red, and the range, which I will highlight in green. The domain is talking about all the values from left to right. Okay, so if you are to trace your graph from left to right, it would essentially end up covering all the values of x. Remember, domain is x, so all x values. The range, if you were to highlight in green, okay, is talking about up and down. So if we go and trace in green for the range, we can see that we never cross 0. Now range is y, and specifically it's always underneath 0, so y is always less than 0. Okay, so that can help you to graph those. I would like you to, of course, try number 3. Okay, so that'll be the starred for you. Absolute values, okay, the other little topic for today. The first thing that students always forget to do is 1, isolate the absolute value bars, abs, okay, and 2, you have to break into 2 problems. Break it into 2, okay? A lot of students just want to do this here. All they want to do is do plus 10 and solve, but you have to break it into 2 problems. So it's really x minus 10 equals 3, and x minus 10 equals negative 3. So you break into 2 and you change the sign. From there, it should just be a pretty comfortable looking problem. Plus 10, plus 10, 13 equals x, plus 10, x equals 7. Okay, easy peasy. The only type that gets a little more involved is like 6 and 7. So first you want to isolate the radical. So I'm going to subtract 5 or isolate the absolute value. Don't forget to chop it up in half. So x minus 2 equals 4. And you change the other side. X minus 2 equals negative 4. Bada bing, bada boom. X equals 6. And x equals negative 2. Okay, good stuff. For number 7, okay, remember you need to isolate the radicals first, so you're actually going to divide each side by 2. So I'll help you out to get started with that. Okay, and I'm going to ask that you guys finish 5, 7, and the graph above. Okay. After those, I will have some more practice for you, unless you feel comfortable to take the quiz. Also, just make sure you caught up on all the other assignments. So, good stuff, guys.